The hangar bay on Titan Station smelled like welding smoke and old ambition. Commander James Reeves stood at the railing of the observation deck, arms folded, staring down at the USS Harbinger, a warship that most of Earth's military brass had quietly agreed to forget. It was ugly. There was no other word for it. Where the Empire's vessels were sleek silver needles, the Harbinger was a brutalist slab of matte black composite armor plating, bristling with weapons pods that looked bolted on by someone who simply refused to run out of ideas. She had no elegance. She had no grace. She had 7 redundant power cores, a rail cannon that could punch through a moon, and a hull rated to survive point-blank antimatter detonation. The Galactic Sovereignty Empire had laughed when they saw her blueprints. Leaked, of course, because the Empire had spies everywhere. A garbage scow with delusions, their Admiral Vekarath had announced at the Interstellar Summit, to polite applause from every species present. Earth's diplomats had smiled and said nothing. The Harbinger had been quietly shelved after that. Funding was redirected to prettier ships. Ships that looked good in formation. Ships that photographed well. James had filed 47 formal objections over 3 years. 47 times, the response had been the same, not a priority. Tonight, however, the priority had changed. Lieutenant Dana Kowalski burst through the observation deck door at 0300 hours, her tablet glowing red in the dark. "Commander." Her voice was steady, which told him immediately that it was bad. Dana only went steady when things were catastrophic. The Empire fleet just dropped out of FTL at the edge of the solar system. 214 warships. They're transmitting an ultimatum. James did not move from the railing. What do they want? Earth. Full surrender. Occupation treaty. They're giving us 6 hours. He was quiet for a moment, listening to the distant hiss of hydraulics as a maintenance drone crawled across the Harbinger's hull below. What's the status of our defense fleet? Dana hesitated. That hesitation told him everything. The Resolute is in dry dock. Drive failure. Columbia and Nevada are escorting the colony freighters at Jupiter, they can't intercept in time. Atlas is gone, sir. Lost 3 weeks ago in the Kepler skirmish. James finally turned away from the window. And the Harbinger? Dana looked at him carefully. She's never been officially commissioned, sir. Technically she doesn't exist in active registry. Which means nobody told her she's not supposed to fight. He was already walking toward the door. Wake the crew. Tell engineering to spin up all 7 cores. I want her moving in 30 minutes. Sir, she has a crew of 60. They have 214 ships. 63, he corrected. Lieutenant Martinez brought 2 volunteers this morning. Good people. He paused at the door, glancing back at the ugly, magnificent machine below. Lock and load everything. Every pod, every rail, every missile in inventory. We're not going out there to impress anyone. At 0347 hours, USS Harbinger left Titan Station without ceremony, without a fleet escort, and without clearance from Earth Command, because James had stopped waiting for clearance around the 22nd formal objection. Inside the bridge, it was controlled chaos run by competent hands. Chief Engineer Rosa Alvarez was already on the comm from the engine room, rattling off numbers in the tone of someone who had waited years for this exact moment. All 7 cores nominal. Rail cannon charged to 94%, she'll hit full charge in 11 minutes. Missile bays 1 through 8 loaded. Point defense network active. Armor lattice locked. A brief pause. Commander, she is ready to bite. The Empire's Armada appeared on the main display like a wall of knives, 214 vessels arranged in a classic crescent formation, the preferred posture of a force that expected to be victorious and wanted to look appropriately intimidating while achieving it. Their flagship, the Eternal Dominion, sat at the center, a vessel 4 kilometers long, gold-hulled, radiating the kind of pompous grandeur that comes from never having actually lost a fight. Admiral Vekaratha's face appeared on the comm channel, uninvited. He was a tall alien, pale-scaled, with the satisfied expression of a predator that had already decided the outcome of the next 10 minutes. "One vessel," he said, with the particular tone of someone savoring a private joke. "Earth sends one vessel. And that vessel, is this?" He looked off-screen, presumably at the Harbinger's sensor profile. "Is this a freighter? Our intelligence suggested you had actual warships." James leaned forward in his command chair. "Admiral," he said pleasantly, "you should know that this ship has never been in combat before. So we've been saving everything we have for a special occasion." A beat of silence. "Fire at will," Vekarath said to his fleet. What the Empire understood about warfare, numbers, formations, coordinated salvos, the elegant physics of superior firepower organized into perfect geometric order. What the Empire did not understand, what happens when a ship has been built by engineers who were told no for a decade. The first Imperial salvo was 600 plasma bolts, a wave designed to overwhelm any conventional point defense system. The Harbinger's point defense network did not flinch. It had been designed by Dr. Patricia Hughes, who had an irrational vendetta against the concept of a missed target, and it had 12 overlapping firing arcs and a targeting algorithm that prioritized threats in 0.003-second intervals. 591 bolts were intercepted. 9 got through. The Harbinger's matte black armor absorbed them without so much as a hull breach, because the armor had been over-engineered by the same people who had nothing better to do while their project was being defunded. "Rail cannon ready," Rosa announced from below. "Range?" James asked. "Just inside optimal." "Fire." The Harbinger fired once. A single dense matter slug accelerated to a meaningful fraction of the speed of light, crossed the gap between vessels in less time than the Empire's tactical officers could register a new contact on their displays. It passed through the shields of the first Imperial cruiser, through its hull, through the second cruiser behind it, and embedded itself in the drive section of a third, which detonated in a cascade that took a fourth vessel with it. 4 ships. 1 shot. The bridge was completely silent for a moment. Then Dana said, very quietly, "They're adjusting formation." "Good," James said. "Missile bays 1 through 4, wide spread, target the left flank. Let's give them something else to think about." What followed was 58 minutes that would be studied in war colleges across the galaxy for the next 2 centuries, and which the Empire's surviving officers would spend the rest of their lives declining to discuss in detail. The Harbinger did not fight like a warship. She fought like a problem that refused to be solved. She was too slow to be a raider, too tough to be overwhelmed, too well-armed to be ignored, and her captain made decisions that violated every conventional tactical model in existence, because James Reeves had written his own tactical models at age 26 and never bothered to read anyone else's. When the Empire concentrated fire, the Harbinger used her 7 power cores to simultaneously harden armor and maintain full weapons output, something no ship was supposed to be able to do. When they tried to flank her, she pivoted with surprising agility for a vessel her size, a consequence of Rosa's engine modifications that had been officially unapproved and therefore gloriously unregistered. When Admiral Vekarath deployed his reserve squadron, 20 additional ships held back precisely for a crisis, James launched the last 4 missile bays in a pattern that Dana had designed 3 years ago in a simulation she'd run purely out of boredom. It worked exactly as she'd calculated. The Eternal Dominion herself came forward at the 1-hour mark, trailing fire from 2 disabled engines, her gold hull cratered and dark in 3 sections. Vekarath, to his credit, was not a coward. He brought his flagship directly at the Harbinger in a ramming approach, because he had run out of other ideas. Rosa's voice came over the comm, completely calm. "Commander. Rail cannon is charged. The shot is lined up. I just want you to know, this is the shot I've been waiting to take since 2041. "Take it," James said. The Eternal Dominion went dark. The remaining 41 Imperial vessels surrendered at 0512 hours. James sat in the command chair looking at the field of debris on the display, the wreckage of an armada that had come to end Earth's sovereignty, and felt something that took him a moment to identify. It wasn't triumph. It was closer to exhaustion mixed with vindication, which is a complicated thing to feel at 5 in the morning in a ship that officially didn't exist. Dana put a hand briefly on his shoulder. Earth Command is on the line, sir. They're saying they need to understand what just happened. Tell them the Harbinger happened. He rubbed his face. Tell them the ship they shelved, defunded, laughed at, and forgot about just stopped an invasion. A long pause on the comm channel from Earth. Then a voice, somewhat hoarse, Commander Reeves. We are approving your commission. Effective immediately. James looked across the bridge, at Dana, at Rosa's voice still crackling cheerful numbers from the engine room, at 62 people who had climbed aboard an unofficial ship in the middle of the night because they believed in the same ugly, over-engineered, magnificent idea he did. Tell them, he said quietly, they should have done that 3 years ago. He turned back to the stars. The Harbinger held her position in the dark, dented, scorched, completely intact, surrounded by the proof that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the galaxy is the project somebody gave up on.